So today, we are talking about somewhere bad. It named the Corban Learning Center, you see me? And so when this lift off of the hill, it will make Corban reach on a higher level. You see me? I say? So watch out. You see, with all this said and done, wait. Why is everyone looking at me like this, yeah? All right, let me give you a brief introduction of myself. My name is Kemar Prince, good? And I'm not from here. I'm from Jamaica, so I have a slight accent. So judges, audience, please, if there's any question, if I went over something too fast, or if I rumbled upon some topic, just raise your hand, and I'll be glad to go for it one more time. Now to start our presentation, my name is Kemar Prince. We have Dozier here, Kelly Anderson, and we are consultants for the Corban Learning Center. Sweet. Sorry about this. It's not working. It's just not working. Why would you turn it off? All right. All right. Our client, Steve Summons, who is Marketing VP of Advancement here at Corban University, he tasked us with the responsibility to create a business plan. Now, this business plan includes a target market analysis, an evaluation of current market trends, financial implications, and just basic strategies that the Corban Learning Center will need to get off the hill. So with all this said and done, I'll hand over to Kelly Anderson, who will elaborate on the Corban Learning Center.
Thank you, Prince. So to start off, let's talk about what exactly is the Corban Learning Center. The Corban Learning Center is a software training institution that specializes in Microsoft Office and Adobe Suite platforms. After a student receives training at the CLC, they will be prepared to go and take an examination and then receive certification in that course. The CLC will be located in downtown Salem, and it will be open to the entire community. It was clear that when we were presented with this project in January that this was Corban's way to get off the hill and make a difference in the community. So before we go much further, let's do some software training 101 to give you guys an idea of what this market niche really looks like. So these are the 4 steps of certification a student has to complete. So first they go and they receive their instruction, then they can register to take an exam, and upon passing that exam, they receive the certification and the bragging rights in their interview to say, hey, I know my stuff. So now we're going to pass it off to Caleb.
Thank you, Kelly. So on the screen in front of you, if you look with me, you'll see the Corban University mission statement. This reads, to educate Christians who will make a difference in the world for Jesus Christ. So the Corban Learning Center will be operating under the same financial umbrella as the university. However, it will not be operating under the same mission statement. This being because it will educate individuals who are both Christians and non-Christians in the Salem area. So our client, Steve Sammons, came to us and tasked us with writing a business plan that could really get Corban off the hill and into the Salem community as a whole. So with this, he wanted to highlight in the mission statement, this is Corban putting their statement into action. This is Corban stepping out into the Salem community and attempting to make a difference in the 2 target markets that we'll identify later, as well as making a difference in the brand recognition and brand awareness overall of Corban University. Our group thought of no better way to show the potential difference this could make in individuals' lives than by producing 2 short commercials that highlight the 2 target audiences we're recommending the Corban Learning Center pursue, these being the underserved adult community as well as a business professional. And so with that, we'd like to show you 2 short commercials that we have that could potentially roll out within the first year to 2 of the Corban Learning Center's life.
Coming from a poor background, I didn't have the same opportunities to further my education and ultimately better prepare for a job. I found myself lost, searching for a way to provide for not only myself, but my family as well. I needed someone to empower me to reach my full potential. Just when I thought I had hit rock bottom, I found out about the Corban Learning Center. Finding the Corban Learning Center was the start to a new beginning. Their friendly staff supported me and they gave me hope. Having the skills I need to be successful in the workplace gave me the confidence to pursue a career in the professional world. With the Learning Center, it's more than just the certification on paper. They were about building relationships. And despite my past, the CLC gave me a promising future.
Oh, we're on? Okay. Well, I entered the career field thinking I knew everything I needed to know about technology and all the softwares I'd be using, but it didn't take me very long to realize that wasn't the case. But just 1 week in a class at the Corban Learning Center has given me even more confidence in my skill set. I've gained additional knowledge, I bolstered my resume, and I'm just way more confident in my abilities as a business professional. And I really believe the CLC has grown me personally and given me the additional tools I need to stay on the workplace. In fact, if you want a business card even.
So, who is the target market of the Corban Learning Center? As you just saw illustrated in the video, there are two main market segments we are recommending Corban Learning Center pursue in their marketing efforts. We'll start with the first, being the underserved adult community. Our team personally believes this group of individuals is the group that could benefit most from certifications that come from the Corban Learning Center. This being because these individuals are adults that would benefit from retraining programs and are often working with state and local unemployment agencies to help them with, in some circumstances, chronic unemployment. Receiving the certification training that you would receive at the Learning Center would be that one thing that they can really grasp and they can put on their resume to ultimately strengthen it and amp up their resume so that they feel confident going into that next job interview and confident sitting down and selling themselves and ultimately attaining financial freedom for not only them but their families as well. The next target market we want to identify is the business professional. This is the individual who already has a job, could potentially already be in their career. However, this is a motivated employee that's always looking for that next opportunity to strengthen their resume, add to their knowledge base they already have, and ultimately find a new way to stand out amongst their fellow coworkers and employees when it comes to getting that next job, pay raise, or promotion. So as you notice, there are two distinct markets where we are recommending marketing towards. And so with that, we know that we have to address that in the business plan. So with that, we have given two recommendations, that being each week at the courses, there will be two separate courses that are offered. One being that for the underserved adult community, the second being that for the business professional. This is so that both groups of people can feel most comfortable coming into the Learning Center and taking classes and learning amongst their fellow peers. So with that, I'll pass it off to Kelly Anderson, who will dive in briefly to our SWOT analysis.
Thank you, Caleb. So included in the business plan, we do have a complete SWOT analysis that highlights the key aspects of the CLC's genesis that we believe will be both to its benefit and to its detriment. So today we're going to focus on the three core strengths we believe that the CLC possesses and that will also help mitigate the weaknesses that it must confront. So starting off, the CLC can leverage the existing business relationships that Corban possesses. Businesses in Salem know Corban, and they're excited to hire Corban grads each year. Not to mention, Corban grads are excited to be hired each year. Am I right, seniors? Right? So for instance, CPA firms like Dozier Wilson has already expressed interest in sending their new hires to the CLC to receive Microsoft Excel training specifically prior to tax season. Next up, the backing of the university. Startups have to face obstacles when it comes to filing and paying for the necessary paperwork with the state in order to operate legally. Because the CLC will be operating under the same 501c3 as the university, this will help expedite and even eliminate some of those processes to begin with. And then, of course, the CLC will be vying for a share of the market in Salem amongst two primary competitors that I'll address in a moment. So we believe that the pricing is going to be a big edge that the CLC has on its competitors. So let's meet the competitors. For this, we made an assumption that customers will be looking at two major factors. One, how long are they going to spend in the classroom to take these courses? Number two, how much is it going to cost out of their pockets? So all figures here are going to be reflecting a Microsoft Excel course at each respective location. Number one, Chemeketa Community College. If you were to take all 5 Excel courses offered at Chemeketa, it would take you 5 quarters or just over a year, and it's $1,100 out of your pocket. Next up, our leading contender is ONLC training sites. They're established in the community and they know what they're doing. If you were to take all 4 Excel courses at ONLC, it'll take you 4 non-consecutive days in the classroom, and it's almost $1,200. So let's see how the CLC stacks up. At this time, our team doesn't feel it's fair to make the assumption that we can offer the same quality of training in a lesser amount of time. So we're going to say training's going to take 4 days in the classroom, just like ONLC. But we're coming in at $400. This is because all incoming cash flow is going to be directed towards those monthly fixed costs that Caleb will talk about later, and as well as keeping the CLC self-sustainable, as opposed to trying to widen a profit margin like a normal business would be doing. So, marketing with two very different markets. We had to ask ourselves, what do these two populations have in common? We believe they both have the desire to better themselves, they both have the desire to stand out in the workplace, and they both have the desire to be successful. So the university needs to market the CLC in such a way that will appeal to this innate desire that is in both groups. Turns out this desired business professional is also the same individual that OPP was looking to market to earlier today. So, this individual, they know their stuff, they're good at computer software, and they probably dress pretty nice too. So, the CLC needs to make sure that they're appealing to both those desires that are in those target groups. So what are some specific ways the CLC can do this? Building relationships. Let's go out and make partnerships with UGM, IQuest, state local employment agencies, and let's have them source the underserved for us so we can give those people the tools they need to be successful. And then direct marketing, the more traditional approach. As you can see in the commercial, it's easy to relate the benefits of taking the courses, and with social media, mailing lists, Corban Magazine, we can relate the features of the CLC and communicate those to our market. So to continue is Prince.
Thank you, Kelly. www.corbanlearningcenter.org. This is live, it's active, and it's going right now. In fact, if you don't believe me, grab out your smartphones and go online while we navigate through this together. Now, as you can see, the color scheme of the CLC is likened that of Corban University. We see this, or we highly recommend this, because though the CLC is somewhat of a separate entity, it's still under the governing body of Corban University. Hence, we can't stray from the fact that under the umbrella, we have to still operate under, So continuing, if you go on the courses, it gives you some overview of the Adobe and Microsoft and all the stuff that we offer. Now on to operations. Kelly expanded earlier on our competitors, their costs, and the time frame it takes for each individual to get certified, if they do get certified. Now we recommend that the CLC offer for both programs, that is Microsoft and Adobe, for $400 and $600 respectively. Now on to the employee job description. We recommend having one main boss. We call this person the manager instructor for time's sake. This person must be MCT and ACE certified, meaning Microsoft certified trainer and Adobe certified expert respectively. Now this manager is going to do general overseeing of managerial tasks per se, and we recommend a cost of $42,000 annually for this person. Now in business like in life, we always have to plan for a rainy day scenario, and as such, we recommend an adjunct instructor for the CLC. This person must have like credentials like in the manager, and we recommend a pay of $300 per course. As for the locations and the specification, we spoke with brokers in the downtown area, and this is an actual location that is present and is available for a lease, and we recommend that the CLC, in their endeavor, seek something like this because it meets the prerequisites. I'll now hand over to Caleb Dozier, who will go on the financials.
Thank you, Prince. All right, so let's move on to everybody's favorite part of every presentation today, the financial plan. So, before we give our numbers, we want to tell you kind of how we did our research and how we came about these projections. We met with business professionals in the Salem area, did extensive research on the market and the industry that the CLC will be operating in, as well as looking at its competitors, most notably ONLC, to see what their offerings were. We also want to note that our projections are extremely conservative in that we don't want to give Corban University an unrealistic expectation of their sales in years 1 through 5 and then have those fall short. With that, let's get started. On the screen in front, you'll see a 12-month sales forecast. There are 4 numbers you'll see in bolded. That is at the 1-month mark, the 6-month mark, the 9-month mark, and the 12-month mark. The one I'd like to highlight for you is the $18,000 in September. This is an example of Corban Learning Center leveraging the university's relationships in the Salem community. We spoke with Doug Doty and Tyson Pruitt, 2 of the 3 leading partners at Doty Pruitt Wilson CPA firm here in Salem. They both expressed great interest in the Learning Center and are completely backed this venture in Salem. They even said that they would be willing to send their new hires every September to the Learning Center to get trained specifically in Microsoft Excel. Next is the 5-year sales forecast. We just wanted to briefly show you this to show the upward trend that we are projecting for the Learning Center in sales from years 1 through 5. So, you might be wondering about funding. When our team sat down and crunched the numbers, we came up with a figure that Corban University will be responsible to come up with in regards to cover the initial startup costs. This figure in year 1 is $37,116. We've elaborated more in the business plan on potential options to do that, but the 3 main options we are looking at is grant funding, marketing to alumni and donors, as well as the traditional business loan. Finally, we want to show the break-even analysis. You'll notice on the x-axis, it's labeled bundle of courses sold. So when you come into the Learning Center, you won't be buying your courses or taking your courses in bundles. However, for the purpose of the break-even analysis, we grouped them together 2 Microsoft courses for every 1 Adobe course, as we believe this will be the ratio most likely it is sold at the Learning Center. As you'll see, there are 2 fixed cost lines, that on the top of close to $140,000 and below that at $120,000. And the top line is a fixed cost line with startup costs included. This is what you can expect to incur in the first year. The bottom line being fixed costs without the startup costs, which is more likely from years 2 moving forward. So in the top right, you'll see to break even, total number of courses will be 300, and with our conservative projections, the Learning Center will sell 290 courses in the first year. I want to remind you that these numbers are conservative, therefore the Learning Center does have lots of room to move up and break even sooner than year 2, which it shows with the bottom fixed cost line. And we have calculated that they will only be operating about 30 to 40% capacity in the first year with our projections, which is good for a startup. And with that, I'll pass it off to Kelly to conclude our presentation.
Thank you, Caleb. So, just some closing thoughts as we wrap up here. The notion of getting Corban off this hill and into the Salem community is a good one, and it's extremely admirable at that. However, we do want to make sure that the CLC is further evaluated to make sure that this is the best avenue for the university to do so. So our team formulated just a couple next steps that the university can take as they consider the CLC. Number 1 is going to be produce a financial sustainability plan. This is going to be especially critical if they decide to pursue that grant funding. And then the further viability studies, just to ensure that the CLC can compete in the current market climate downtown with those 2 competitors we talked about. So our team recognizes and appreciates the desire the university has to go make a difference in the community, and we pray that the business plan we formulated will help them make the best decision possible. So with that, we would like to thank our client, Steve Sammons. We'd also like to thank our mentors, Jonathan Booth and Kelly Gosman, for all their help and support, and as well as Dean Lindell for this learning opportunity. And thank you so much for your attention, and we are now open for questions.
Microphone closer.
Okay.
Hey, Bruce.
No doubt your financial analysis included a lot more than just one number. But what jumped out to me is you advocated for a salary of $42,000 and your projections were $37,000. So what else did you include in your projections, or how come those numbers don't even match?
So the salary will be paid during the first year. The projections that we made, that will actually be, we didn't say this, but it is included in our business plan. Those projections will be dispersed from Corban University to the Learning Center within the first 5 months of the Learning Center being in operation. And then by the 6th month, we are projecting a positive cash flow, therefore not needing the university to continue with startup costs, because we believe it will be generating its own cash flow, but it will not be breaking even until the second year.
Caleb.
Okay, that should have been
Mic
included.
closer.
And
Rick.
that is included in the business plan. It just wasn't. We just didn't feel it was necessary to be included in the presentation.
Okay, and I assume that you took care of rent, licensing, equipment.
Yep. There's a full Excel spreadsheet in the business plan that we gave to our client that shows monthly fixed costs with rent, utilities, telephone, everything that with that, and it's projected through the year.
Okay, and for you guys and for all of the others in the room, when you do a salary of $42,000, multiply that by 1.5 to count for benefits.
Rick?
Thanks, Gruff. So I liked your SWOT analysis. I don't think I saw any negatives there, however, but I like the fact that you did the SWOT analysis. I thought it was great that you did the location and the staff. That was fantastic. And what the two areas that you're servicing and where you're going to get those folks from. So I thought that was all excellent. I guess I have one question. Is this really to let the community know that Corban exists and potentially to pull people this direction? What's the underlying mission?
Yeah, so the overarching purpose really is to make a difference in the community and touch the lives of those that Corban wouldn't normally get access to here on campus. So there is some opportunity that if you can get high school students or even college students in the CLC's doors, they might get interested in an MBA at Corban. They may come for their bachelor's. You could offer college credit after you, say, complete that Excel course. That could be three credits here at Corban, and that might incentivize some students to come to the CLC.
Norma?
So from someone who has closely worked with one of your competitors, being a community college in the area that's also very involved with the community, so how would you, has there been conversations? Would there be a plan of, discussing this center and not, I guess competition is, you did say it's a competitor, but at the same time you kind of have to play nice in this area.
Right.
How would that look like?
Closer.
Sorry. We don't want to step on any toes as we enter into the community, and that's one of those things that does need to be further evaluated is, can the CLC fit in the community with what's being offered right now? So evaluating that need before it goes into the community would be critical, especially with other community colleges that are seeking to do the same thing. That's a very good point, yes.
Richard and then Brock.
Several groups today have assured us that they're using conservative estimates. I'm not convinced that 290 courses in year one is conservative. Convince me that it is. Is ONLC teaching 290 courses?
They are. They're teaching a lot more than that, actually. So in order to get these figures, we looked all over the internet, tried to find sources, and we just really couldn't find much on it. So we physically went to ONLC training site and staked out and watched when they would be offering their Microsoft Excel courses. And we counted how many people were coming out of the classroom. And then these classes are offered multiple times throughout the month. And so we use those projections because that is their main course they offer for when it comes to business. And so we use those projections to help build ours. And then we obviously made those less than what they're projecting because they are an established business here in the Salem community and they're actually nationwide. And so with that, we use those to build based off a percentage of what we believe the Learning Center could bring in.
I'll add to that. Some of the courses, especially the Adobe ones that are more expensive and in less demand because they're very specific as to what they address for the skill set. In the first few months, we had none of those courses being sold whatsoever. So we really focused the majority of the type of courses that would be sold would be in that Microsoft package, the Excel and the Word especially. So, I mean, some of the first months we have zeros in our projections for what we'd be selling.
Brock?
Yeah, so if you graduate or whatever it is.
Hopefully.
Okay, so Rick's reminded me here that you get a certificate, yes? So
Yep.
for Microsoft and for Adobe?
I'll explain that a little bit better. When you go to the CLC, you strictly receive instruction, and then you go to the Certiport location, and they're certified to give that exam. And then if you pass that exam, they give you the certification. So the CLC is not a certification granting location, it's just for instruction.
Okay, on a creative, I own a creative firm. So when it comes to learning Adobe stuff, if somebody were to come to me and give me a certificate that they learned Adobe, I'd say that's cute, you should frame it and put it in your house. I want to see a portfolio. I want to see work. I want to see actual what people are working on. Are you guys, if there's two avenues of your business, you have analytical and you have creative for the most part, how are you setting up those two differently, or are you just giving people certificates across the board?
Yeah, so again, we wouldn't be giving any certificates, but that analytical portion would be directed towards those trying to enter into the workplace who need those introductory skills and pivot tables and making business plans in Word, stuff like that. And then the creative ones, that would be a good intro course for, do I like editing pictures? Do I like editing movies? Is this something I can help, something I can use to build my portfolio so that when I go into that job interview, I'm better prepared with what I'm presenting them.
Jonathan?
You had stated that there are two demographics that you're focusing on, right? The current professionals and the underemployed adults. What are the requirements that discern who goes into what group? If you're going to have separate classes focusing on two different things, what are the criterion to make sure that people are in the right class?
A lot of it goes back to who's sourcing these customers. We really want to stress that a partnership with UGM or a state employment agency would be a way that we use those existing people that they've gathered, and then we partner with them to bring them into the classes. And then the business professional might be someone who sees the ad. It might be a student at the university, someone who hears about it on their own as opposed to being involved in a state agency that would bring them in. So the way that they would register online would probably be the biggest way that we could filter where these people and what type of courses they would go to. Yeah.
Another big reason we chose to pursue the business professional market was because after meeting with Doug Doty and Tyson Pruitt, they both made it evident that lots of times they're bringing these new hires who claim that they know how to work, they're wizards in Excel, and they know how to make pivot tables and do everything there is to know about Excel. And then they get in the workplace and they can't even make a pivot table, something basic that you need to have, especially at a CPA firm. And so his interest in sending his employees, for example, there and having them receive this certification training so that he can be more confident in their abilities. He doesn't have to worry about them sending them projects to do throughout the day and that they won't know how to use basic Excel functions and be, well, experts in Excel. And so this is another reason why we chose to pursue that business professional, because it also makes employers more confident in their employees as a whole.
Katie?
So you say going on with the different types of customers, if you're looking to really bring Corban into the community, and there are a lot of people like those who are involved at UGN that need this training, yet there's no money to afford that, or when you're unemployed, you're not necessarily looking to spend more to learn. A lot of people will YouTube those things instead. But do you have a plan on how to reach that demographic and really make a difference for them?
Yeah, so in our business plan, like I said, we really dove into the grant funding option, as well as marketing with alumni and donors. And so we thought this was huge for this segment specifically. After meeting with the grant writer, he said a grant for this type of business, especially with the work it is doing with the underserved community, is very possible and very likely to happen, anywhere from $10,000 upwards to $30,000, $40,000, which could help cover initial costs as well as fund some of the underserved courses. And then also with getting alumni and donors that are already donating to the university, they obviously believe in the vision that Corban has because they are giving of their financials to the university. And so it would naturally be easy to show them why Corban believes in the Corban Learning Center and believes in making a difference in Salem. And then that could also be a stream of money to then put towards those courses.
Here, Rick.
Hey, it's just occurring to me, I don't know if you folks checked with workforce investment boards. So we have one that is housed there with Schmecken and Segcor, right? And I believe they outsource all of their training, and they do a lot of training, and they have a lot of grant money. So there's an income stream. And I guess I'm curious if you talked to any of the workforce investment boards or looked at any of their statistics.
We haven't, but that's definitely a great venture to pursue. Thank you for that.
Okay, thank you very much. Now,